Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel DryBiz, where we make innovative dry solutions, and today we're going to be doing a razor comparison between the Gillette ProGlide razor and the Harry's razor. And we're actually going to do this a little bit different. We're actually going to deconstruct the razors, or take them apart, take a closer look at the parts and see how they're engineered. And before we get started, this video is brought to you by our newest product, DryBlade. DryBlade is a razor dry pod for cartridge razors that keeps your razors dry, sanitary, and longer lasting. You can learn more about DryBlade at dryblade.com or drybiz.com. But for now, let's get into the razor comparison. Okay, so here's our first deconstruction comparison between the Gillette ProGlide cartridge razor versus the Harry's cartridge razor. I know what you're thinking. This looks crazy. I look like a madman taking apart cartridge razors. But it's actually pretty interesting just to see how these things are made, the type of engineering that goes behind today's cartridge razors. Gillette said that they use the Pro blades in this model, which I think are their most advanced and sharpest blades to date, versus the Harry's razor. They just have the one style of blades. I used both for 2 weeks. I did not use the dry blade system. I wanted to see how long they would last on their own and just get the true essence out of each blade. For the Gillette, before I get into deconstruction part and just my initial thoughts, is that the Gillette cartridge razor, comparing it to Harry's, they are more expensive. I think you can get them for like $3.71 per unit on Amazon versus I think it's like $2.04. The Gillette razor, I did notice it just seemed to be a little more refined when I used it compared to Harry's. Harry's just seemed to be a little bit bulkier, but they both provided really close shaves. For the longevity, I got almost 2 weeks out of the Gillette razor before I started getting pulling and tugging, and maybe a nick here and there, and just before I really started to get irritating shaves. With Harry's, I really didn't even make it a week before I started getting irritations. Gillette razor definitely lasted a lot longer. I also liked the pivoting action of the Gillette razor because I use a mechanical or spring-based pivot. A really good feedback from the razor, and the razor head just snaps back. Whereas the Harry's razor uses more of, like, I guess it's an organic type of pivot where rubber that attaches the cartridge to the base, and it just seemed, the pivot was just a little too soft and didn't snap back nearly as quickly as the Gillette razor. And then on down to the actual blades themselves, I did notice that the Harry's blades were a little beefier, a little bigger than the Gillette blades. But I did notice the Gillette blades appeared to be a little more refined. Also, I'm not a metallurgist or anything. I don't really know anything about metal, but I did notice that the Gillette blades, the metal appears to be, I don't know, a little shinier. That's makes a difference in the quality of the blades, but I did notice that they just look nicer compared to Harry's. Here's a magnified and up-close look of both razors, one blade each. And as you can see, Harry's has a much wider honed area for their razor compared to Gillette's. And this just goes to show you that Harry's just has larger, again, beefier blades than Gillette's more refined blades. And the last thing I noticed is that when I flipped both blades over and took a magnified look is that the Gillette blade was much shinier than the Harry's blade. So I don't know if that means there's a difference in quality with the metal, but if anyone knows, please comment below. Okay, to sum it all up, I broke the comparison down into 6 categories, starting with build quality. Definitely the Gillette, just with the all metal frame and the little springs and spot welds. It just seemed to be a much more quality cartridge than Harry's. For longevity, definitely the Gillette. Wasn't really that impressed with Harry's longevity. I really liked the shaves, but after 2 or 3, the shaves just really seemed to go downhill. For the quality of the blades, definitely Gillette. They just seem to be a little more refined, and the metal quality seemed to be higher. For blade spacing, definitely Gillette. Whenever I would rinse, it would rinse out all of the hairs and shaving cream, where Harry's would always clog up. The cost, obviously Gillette is a little bit higher, so if you're on a budget, it would be good to get Harry's, but you get what you pay for. And the handle, definitely Harry's. Really liked the all rubber or silicone grip. Always felt good in the hand. Great balance and weight as compared to Gillette's, which just felt a little bit more on the cheap side. So there you have it, for a total score for Gillette 45 to Harry's 38. I would definitely recommend the Gillette ProGlide over Harry's. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a little different, but if anyone has a razor that you want me to rip apart and to test, just put it down in the comments and let me know. And don't forget to improve the performance of any cartridge razor. Use dry blade. Dry blade has a desiccant and VCI technology to make razors last longer, to keep them sanitary, and it just improves the overall performance of any cartridge razor. And again, you can pick these up at dryblade.com. And thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.